Gene Hackman's demise, initially perceived as a straightforward, natural passing, befitting his venerable age, swiftly morphed into a labyrinthine enigma upon the revelations unearthed within his secluded Santa Fe estate. The discovery transformed a seemingly peaceful departure into a chilling tableau. For an agonizing 9-day stretch, the bodies of Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, lay undisturbed, their silence amplifying the unsettling questions that would soon engulf the case. There were no overt indicators of forced entry, no readily discernible cause of death to offer immediate clarity, and no rational explanation for the macabre detail of one of their canine companions being found deceased within a confined closet, while its two counterparts wandered the premises unconstrained. The residence stood untouched, devoid of telltale signs. No splintered locks, no displaced valuables hinting at theft, absolutely nothing to readily suggest the intrusion of an unwanted presence. And yet, an almost palpable sense of unease permeated the atmosphere, an intangible wrongness that defied easy categorization. Why, then, did federal agents so abruptly and decisively thrust themselves into the unfolding narrative? What specific quarry were they pursuing with such unwavering focus? And, paramount among the swelling tide of inquiries, what did the esteemed investigators from the FBI unearth within the confines of Gene Hackman's private bedroom? An unsettling revelation so profoundly disturbing that it was immediately cloaked in secrecy, sealed away from the prying eyes of public scrutiny and legal transparency. The very instant that federal investigators asserted their presence, the carefully constructed narrative surrounding Hackman's death underwent a seismic shift, fracturing into 1,000 speculative shards. Local law enforcement, initially content to categorize the event as a private, albeit undeniably unusual tragedy, found themselves relegated to the sidelines. The sudden federal intervention implied a scope and significance far exceeding the apparent circumstances. Federal agencies, by established protocol, rarely involve themselves in routine death investigations unless the shadows of national security concerns loom large, or the specter of potential criminal activity involving figures of considerable prominence arises, or perhaps, most ominously, the involvement of classified materials casts its long and ominous shadow. None of these presumptive explanations appeared to readily align with the surface details. But according to a chorus of corroborating sources speaking under conditions of strict anonymity, the FBI possessed highly specific intelligence, a preemptive awareness that something of critical importance, something of potential volatility, required immediate retrieval from within the confines of Hackman's residence. The whispers suggested something acutely sensitive, possibly inherently dangerous, lurking within those walls. The agents arrived brandishing a meticulously sealed search warrant, its directives singularly focused on the sacrosanct space of Hackman's private bedroom and his adjacent study. This singular focus deviated sharply from established investigative norms. Typically, when authorities undertake a thorough investigation into a death, they meticulously examine the entirety of the property, painstakingly documenting every potential clue, no matter how seemingly insignificant. But in this instance, the FBI possessed a preternatural certainty, an uncanny knowledge of precisely where their search should be concentrated. It was not the expansive kitchen where Hackman's lifeless body was ultimately discovered. It was not the bathroom, a scene of somber discovery where his wife was located amidst a haphazard scattering of prescription pills. Their unwavering focus remained riveted on his bedroom, a space that, to outside observers, held no apparent significance, a place that no one would ever suspect as the epicenter of a sweeping FBI-led operation. What secrets lay concealed within those walls? What clandestine truths had Hackman been diligently guarding, maintaining hidden from the world throughout the twilight years of his celebrated life. One of the earliest and most profoundly unsettling discoveries was the revelation that Hackman's bedroom had been securely locked from the interior. The investigators were forced to resort to physical force, compelling them to breach the barrier and gain entry. The room itself presented an unsettling tableau of meticulous order, an almost unnerving cleanliness that seemed incongruous with the circumstances of a man found deceased without any apparent assistance. The bed was immaculately made, its linens taut and undisturbed. The surface of the desk was conspicuously devoid of any clutter, presenting a picture of unnatural tidiness. And yet, upon closer, more painstaking examination, the agents unearthed irrefutable evidence indicating the recent removal of specific items. There were telltale signs of missing articles, subtle indentations etched onto shelves, lingering ghosts of books or documents that once occupied those spaces, a small but undeniably noticeable gap disrupting the harmonious alignment of framed photographs, and, perhaps most ominously, a safe, its formidable door left slightly ajar, a silent sentinel guarding its secrets. It appeared as though an unseen visitor, possessed of precise knowledge and unwavering purpose, had preceded the arrival of the investigators. This phantom presence had selectively extracted what was deemed essential, leaving all other possessions meticulously untouched. But who was this spectral intruder? And, perhaps more importantly, how had they managed to penetrate the security without leaving a single trace? The safe itself immediately became a focal point of intense interest, a silent repository of potential truths. FBI agents dedicated countless hours to the painstaking extraction and meticulous cataloging of its contents, maintaining a strict veil of secrecy that further amplified the surrounding intrigue. No details whatsoever were released to the public, fueling a surge of speculation and conspiracy theories. Some unconfirmed reports, whispered in hushed tones, claimed that highly sensitive documents were discovered within, papers of such a delicate nature that they should never have been within Hackman's possession in the first place. These were not mere personal missives, nor discarded scripts, nor mundane financial records. According to fragments of information gleaned from leaked accounts, the contents included classified information, deeply interwoven with the activities of powerful individuals operating within the intertwined worlds of Hollywood's entertainment industry and the uppermost echelons of governmental power. Had Hackman unwittingly stumbled upon a trove of incriminating evidence, unknowingly sitting upon information that could potentially destabilize the existing power structures? Some theorists, fueled by the absence of official information, posit that Hackman had been engaged in a clandestine investigation of these influential figures, meticulously collecting information that ultimately transformed him into a marked target. Others suggest that he was merely the unwitting custodian of files that linked him inextricably to something far grander in scale, a vast, shadowy, global operation teetering on the precipice of exposure. The timing of his death, occurring in close proximity to major criminal investigations targeting both Hollywood and elite circles, lends a disturbing credence to this already unsettling theory. The FBI's steadfast refusal to offer any comment regarding the nature of the retrieved items has only served to exacerbate the pervasive sense of unease, further fueling the fires of speculation and suspicion. If the contents of Hackman's bedroom were truly devoid of any significance, why the elaborate charade of secrecy? Why were even local authorities, those initially entrusted with the investigation, denied access to the comprehensive findings? Adding yet another layer of complexity to the already intricate puzzle, sources claim that certain electronic devices were conspicuously absent from the residence. While Hackman was known to favor the simplicity of an older generation flip phone over the complexities of a modern smartphone, investigators were unable to locate the device. His computer hard drive had been physically removed, and several USB storage devices, known by family members to be stored in his study, were nowhere to be found. Was someone engaged in a deliberate effort to systematically erase Hackman's digital footprint, attempting to expunge all traces of his online activities and electronic communications? Then, the perplexing question of the unconventional financial documents that were reportedly discovered within the confines of the room. According to a source within law enforcement speaking under the guarantee of anonymity, records of wire transfers and offshore accounts surfaced, raising grave and unsettling questions. Was Hackman actively engaged in transferring funds to protect himself from unforeseen circumstances? Was he a participant in some clandestine activity that necessitated the concealment of his assets? Or, perhaps more ominously, was this merely evidence of a larger, more intricate operation unfolding, a hidden network that ultimately led to his untimely demise? Theories proliferated across the vast digital landscape of the internet, with many commentators drawing unsettling parallels to other prominent Hollywood figures who had met their ends under similarly suspicious circumstances. Was Hackman silenced before he could potentially divulge sensitive information? A victim of a ruthless calculus? Was his death meticulously staged to mimic the appearance of natural causes, while his most valuable secrets were carefully extracted and spirited away? And most disturbingly, if the FBI did, in fact, discover something so profoundly shocking within Hackman's bedroom that its existence had to be shielded from public knowledge, what other secrets remain concealed, lurking just beyond the periphery of our understanding? The chilling discovery, unveiling the secrets hidden within his bedroom. This is the revelation that reshapes the entire narrative, forever altering our perception of events. Just when it seemed that Gene Hackman's death was destined to remain a tragic but ultimately inexplicable incident, a groundbreaking twist emerged from the shadows, casting the previous assumptions into stark doubt. FBI agents, during their meticulously conducted search of his Santa Fe mansion, unearthed a discovery so profoundly shocking, so laden with potentially explosive implications, that entire portions of their findings have been permanently sealed away from public release. The epicenter of their exhaustive search was not a random corner of the house. It was specifically his bedroom, the most private and intimate space within the residence. And the contents they unearthed there have only deepened the swirling vortex of mystery that enshrouds his death, further complicating an already perplexing situation. Reports, fueled by leaked information and whispered rumors, indicate that agents stumbled upon a concealed safe, a hidden compartment deftly integrated into the room's structure, absent from the initial estate records and unknown to Hackman's closest family members. The moment this clandestine repository was discovered, agents swiftly secured the immediate area, treating it as a potential crime scene of paramount importance. Eyewitnesses present at the scene described the investigators' reaction as distinctly unusual, characterized by a palpable sense of unease and astonishment. Some even claimed that seasoned professionals, hardened by years of exposure to the dark underbelly of society, were visibly shaken by the discovery. So the central question remains, hanging heavy in the air like a palpable threat. What secrets lay dormant within the depths of Gene Hackman's hidden safe? The first and most obvious suspicion revolves around the possibility that Hackman was in possession of classified documents, sensitive political files, or other materials that should never have been within his reach. This potential explanation readily accounts for the FBI's rapid and decisive intervention. High-profile figures, spanning the spectrum from A-list celebrities to influential politicians have, on occasion, knowingly or unknowingly retained possession of sensitive materials, becoming unwitting custodians of potentially destabilizing secrets. Could Hackman have inadvertently acquired documents that linked him to something far more sinister, a vast global operation, a far-reaching political scandal, or even an ongoing criminal case teetering on the brink of exposure? Another chilling possibility to consider is the idea that Hackman had been actively collecting information pertaining to the darkest secrets harbored within the hidden corridors of Hollywood, diligently compiling evidence that could shatter established reputations and expose long-buried transgressions. Was he, perhaps, preparing to blow the whistle on something that transcended his individual existence, poised to reveal truths that powerful individuals desperately sought to suppress? The safe in this scenario could have contained unreleased memoirs, tell-all manuscripts, or even surreptitiously recorded personal accounts detailing events he had personally witnessed throughout his illustrious career. If Hackman had been contemplating the publication of a memoir, could it have been more than just a nostalgic retrospective of his acting career? A gentle stroll down memory lane? Was he instead bracing himself to expose the hidden machinations and corrupt practices of powerful figures nestled within the entertainment industry? Then, descending further into the realm of unsettling speculation, there exists the most sinister theory of all, the chilling prospect that the safe contained graphic photographic or video evidence of criminal activity. If Hackman possessed irrefutable proof of something truly damning, something capable of toppling the elite from their lofty perches, it would readily explain why his death might not have been as natural as it initially appeared. Some theorists speculate that he was safeguarding surveillance footage or blackmail material, perhaps something he had strategically retained for his own protection against potential threats. And this sinister line of reasoning inevitably leads us to the most disturbing question of all. Was Hackman's untimely death in any way linked to the ongoing, ever-expanding revelations surrounding the activities of Jeffrey Epstein? In the days and weeks leading up to Hackman's death, a flurry of reports surfaced, hinting that the final tranche of Epstein files was poised to be unsealed, threatening to expose the names of prominent individuals who had managed to evade public scrutiny for years. These documents were widely anticipated to contain the names of high-profile figures, individuals who had successfully managed to avoid exposure for an extended period. Immediately following the announcement of Hackman's passing, social media platforms erupted with a cacophony of speculation, fueled by suspicion and a pervasive sense of unease. One user posting on Twitter queried, "Do you honestly believe this is a mere coincidence? Another Hollywood legend suddenly dies right before the release of the biggest document dump of the decade." Some theorists believe that Hackman's name might have been directly implicated in those files, either as someone possessing first-hand knowledge of the events or as a witness to the illicit dealings of powerful individuals. Others suggest that he was not merely an innocent bystander, but rather the custodian of his own private trove of records pertaining to the individuals involved. If Hackman was, in fact, sitting on a cache of names, locations, or other irrefutable evidence that implicated major figures within the realms of Hollywood or national politics, it would have provided more than sufficient motive for someone to silence him before he could ever potentially reveal the truth. And here is where the narrative veers into even more unsettling territory. The precise contents of Hackman's safe were never fully disclosed to the public. Despite the execution of a legally sanctioned search warrant, despite the direct and extensive involvement of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, no official statement has ever been issued regarding the nature of the recovered items. This deliberate lack of transparency is, in itself, highly unusual. deviating sharply from established protocols. If the safe had merely contained personal effects, outdated scripts from past projects, or innocuous financial records, there would have been no logical reason for such stringent secrecy. The only plausible explanation is that what was ultimately discovered within posed a direct and imminent threat to individuals entrenched in positions of power and influence. But what if Hackman was not simply an unfortunate victim of circumstance, caught in the crosshairs of powerful forces? What if he was inextricably connected to something far more substantial, something that placed him at grave personal risk? For many years, Hackman had chosen to live a quiet, largely private life within the relative seclusion of New Mexico. He deliberately distanced himself from the tumultuous chaos of Hollywood's social and professional circles. Yet he maintained deep connections with the entertainment industry. Insiders have revealed that he remained in regular contact with influential figures operating behind the scenes, including studio executives, producers, and actors who possessed an intimate understanding of the inner workings of the entertainment business. Some believe that Hackman may have been an active participant in a clandestine network engaged in the exchange of sensitive information, whether for the purpose of personal protection, the acquisition of greater influence, or perhaps something far more sinister and manipulative. Could Hackman have been in possession of evidence that would have exposed a covert system of control operating beneath the glittering veneer of Hollywood's public image? If such a scenario were true, it would have undeniably transformed him into a significant liability, a loose end that needed to be decisively dealt with. Then, shifting the focus once more, there remains the crucial question of timing. If Hackman's safe contained something so potentially catastrophic that it required immediate retrieval and concealment, why was his death allowed to be reported as a mere mystery, an unexplained tragedy? Wouldn't those individuals implicated in the secrets within seek to control the unfolding narrative, shaping public perception to their advantage? The unsettling reality is that, in these types of situations, it is often strategically advantageous to allow the public to believe that a state of confusion and uncertainty prevails. Confusion, after all, readily gives rise to a multitude of theories, and theories, no matter how compelling, can always be summarily dismissed, trivialized, or discredited. And yet, despite the myriad theories swirling about, one crucial detail stubbornly refuses to align, remaining a jarring incongruity within the larger narrative: the persistent mystery surrounding the missing electronic devices. Upon arriving at Hackman's mansion, the FBI agents reportedly found themselves unable to locate several key items, including his computer hard drive, his collection of USB storage devices, and even his personal cellular phone. This startling revelation raises a chilling possibility. Someone gained access to Hackman's bedroom before the arrival of the authorities, someone who possessed specific knowledge of what he possessed and swiftly removed it before the FBI could potentially expose the full, unvarnished truth, who had unauthorized access to Hackman's home during the agonizing 9-day interval that his body lay undiscovered, a period of unnerving isolation. Who possessed the requisite skills and knowledge to effectively erase his digital footprint, eliminating all traces of his online activity. And perhaps most disturbingly, if Hackman truly possessed damning evidence securely locked away, what other hidden secrets remain concealed, lurking just beyond our grasp? Who else is in imminent danger of succumbing to a similar fate, their voices silenced before they can potentially reveal what they know? Alternative theories surrounding Gene Hackman's demise. Gene Hackman's perplexing death has spawned a torrent of speculation, giving rise to a diverse array of theories that span the spectrum from meticulously orchestrated foul play to bizarre accidents and tragic coincidences. Some believe that he was deliberately silenced to prevent the disclosure of sensitive information, while others suspect a sudden and unforeseen medical event. Still, a growing number argue that something far more sinister and carefully concealed was at play. The definitive truth remains elusive, shrouded in secrecy. But as authorities continue to withhold crucial details and maintain an opaque stance, one central question relentlessly persists. Was Hackman's death simply a tragic accident, or was it something far more meticulously planned and sinister? One of the most widely discussed possibilities revolves around the notion that Hackman was the target of a high-profile assassination, cleverly disguised to appear as death resulting from natural causes. This theory suggests that he either possessed classified information that powerful individuals sought to suppress, was poised to expose the clandestine activities of powerful figures, or had become a liability to secretive organizations that deemed his continued existence a threat. This idea directly aligns with the widely discussed Epstein connection theory, which posits that Hackman possessed intimate knowledge of the darkest secrets harbored within Hollywood's hidden chambers, secrets so volatile and potentially damaging that keeping him alive was no longer a viable option. Online speculation reached a fever pitch following reports of the FBI's sudden and unexpected involvement and their particular interest in Hackman's hidden safe. Could Hackman have been safeguarding documents, recordings, or financial records that could potentially implicate high-profile figures in nefarious activities? If so, that would logically explain the thoroughness with which his home was searched and the reasons behind the disappearance of certain electronic devices, including his computer hard drive and USB storage devices. Some theorists argue that this was not simply a routine death investigation that authorities were attempting to conduct, but rather a deliberate cover-up intended to conceal the true circumstances surrounding his death. Others contend that Hackman's death was a classic Hollywood hit job, skillfully orchestrated by insiders operating within the entertainment industry's murky underbelly. The concept of elites targeting individuals who become overly powerful, outspoken, or simply too difficult to control has persisted for decades, giving rise to a multitude of conspiracy theories surrounding the untimely deaths of various celebrities, including Heath Ledger, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Brittany Murphy, and even the iconic Marilyn Monroe. Could Hackman have been the latest addition to a long list of celebrities quietly eliminated under the guise of natural causes, their deaths skillfully staged to appear as accidents or sudden illnesses? Actor Randy Quaid, a figure known for his eccentric behavior and unwavering belief that a secretive group dubbed the Hollywood Star Whackers is responsible for eliminating troublesome stars, immediately declared that Hackman and his wife had been murdered, their deaths meticulously staged to conceal the truth. Quaid even hinted that he possessed insider knowledge regarding the identity of those responsible. While the mainstream media swiftly dismissed his claims as unfounded, they served only to further fuel the narrative that Hackman's death was an integral part of something far grander in scale. A power play, a carefully delivered warning, or even a cold-blooded execution carried out with meticulous precision. Then, shifting the focus to another possibility, there exists the theory that Hackman was an active member of an underground network, either as a targeted individual or as an insider with access to sensitive information. Some believe that he may have had connections to individuals involved in illicit financial dealings, political corruption, or even covert intelligence operations. Hackman was widely known for his private yet powerful connections within the upper echelons of Hollywood, and he maintained deep involvement in specific circles despite his retirement from acting. Could he have been financially linked to blacklisted individuals, secretive investments, or other clandestine activities that placed him in direct peril? One particularly chilling theory suggests that the offshore accounts discovered during the FBI's search of his bedroom might have contained links to secret payments or illegal transactions, the kind of activities that often lead to individuals being permanently silenced. However, not all the prevailing theories lean towards organized foul play. Some argue that Hackman and his wife may have been victims of an environmental or accidental hazard within their secluded home. One early suspicion centered on the possibility of carbon monoxide poisoning, a silent killer that can induce sudden unconsciousness and death without any prior warning. However, subsequent toxicology reports definitively ruled out this possibility, prompting the question: if carbon monoxide was not the culprit, what was? Others speculate that a slow-acting toxin, an undetected gas leak, or even contaminated food or water could have played a role in their demise. The fact that one of their canine companions also perished inside the house lends credence to this idea. Was something within their environment gradually poisoning them over time? If so, why haven't authorities released any definitive findings related to this possibility, offering a concrete explanation for their deaths? Another theory postulates that Hackman may have succumbed to a sudden medical event, prompting his wife, in a state of profound shock and grief, to take her own life. At the age of 95, Hackman's health was undoubtedly in decline. If he had collapsed due to a heart attack or stroke, it is plausible that his wife, overwhelmed by a confluence of grief and fear, intentionally overdosed on medication. However, this theory has significant inconsistencies and raises numerous unanswered questions. No clear evidence of suicide was discovered at the scene. No note was left to explain her actions, and the scattered pills near her body could have been staged to create a misleading impression. Furthermore, if this was merely a tragic medical incident, why was Hackman's pacemaker data so extensively analyzed by the investigators? His last recorded heartbeat occurred on February 17th, yet his body was not discovered until February 26th. What transpired during those missing 9 days? If Arakawa had outlived him, even for a short time, why didn't she attempt to call for help? And if they both died suddenly and simultaneously, how is that even remotely possible given the known circumstances? Some theorists have suggested that their deaths were the result of foul play perpetrated by someone close to them. This theory probes the possibility that a third party was involved, someone who gained access to their home, intentionally harmed them, and then meticulously staged the scene to create the illusion of natural causes. One of the most perplexing details in the case is the fact that Hackman's bedroom was locked from the inside. But was it locked before or after his death? If someone had gained access to their home, could they have manipulated the scene to remove incriminating evidence and further obscure the truth? If so, why didn't authorities discover any signs of forced entry, suggesting that the perpetrator was skilled in deception? One theory posits that someone Hackman knew and trusted was behind the incident, someone with access to the residence and sufficient knowledge to evade detection, leaving no trace of their involvement. An even more outlandish possibility is that Hackman's death was ritualistic in nature, intricately tied to something paranormal or esoteric. While it may seem far-fetched to some, it would not be the first instance of Hollywood being linked to secret societies, esoteric groups, and strange cult-like activities. A brief but bizarre edit to Hackman's Wikipedia page following his death claimed that he was a member of a secretive witchcraft cult based in Santa Fe, known within the group as the Healer. The edit was quickly deleted, but not before screenshots had proliferated across various social media platforms, fueling rampant speculation. While there is no concrete evidence to suggest that Hackman was involved in anything occult-related, the idea that his death could have had a ritualistic component has ignited numerous discussions. Could he have been a member of a secret group, either knowingly or unknowingly, that ultimately decided his time had come? Or did someone deliberately use the mystique of his secluded home to stage a scene that would forever be shrouded in enigma? Even the most rational explanations offered fail to fully account for all the known facts and inconsistencies. If Hackman's death was, in fact, natural, why were crucial details pertaining to the state of his body, the FBI's findings, and the missing electronic devices all deliberately withheld from the public? If this was simply a tragic coincidence, why do so many elements of the case eerily resemble other high-profile Hollywood deaths that have long been suspected of involving foul play? The theories continue to accumulate, but the definitive answers remain stubbornly elusive, tantalizingly just beyond our grasp. Perhaps the most unsettling possibility of all is that the truth is so profoundly shocking, so utterly unthinkable, that it has been deliberately suppressed, buried beneath layers of misinformation and deliberate obfuscation. If the FBI did, in fact, uncover something truly explosive within Hackman's bedroom, something so sensitive that it had to be classified and shielded from public scrutiny, what are the larger implications for the rest of us? Who else is lurking in the shadows, anxiously awaiting the potential exposure of their hidden secrets? And, perhaps most importantly, will we ever truly know what transpired in the final days of Gene Hackman's life, unraveling the mysteries surrounding his untimely demise? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.